Let's talk about Taylor Momsen, a true artist who followed her heart, even when it meant leaving everything behind. Her journey is one of courage, creativity, and the relentless pursuit of authenticity. Taylor's story isn't just about fame or success. It's about finding your voice, even when the world expects you to play a different role. You probably remember her as Jenny Humphrey on Gossip Girl, the Brooklyn girl trying to fit in with Manhattan's elite. On screen, she was the outsider, always striving to belong in a world of privilege and power, navigating the drama and glamour of the Upper East Side. We watched her transform from a sweet freshman to a bold fashion designer, making Jenny one of TV's most memorable characters. Her evolution was dramatic. She went from innocence to ambition, from uncertainty to fierce independence, capturing the hearts of viewers everywhere. But Taylor was never just Jenny. She'd been acting since she was a toddler, but music was always her real passion. Even as a child star, she felt the pull of something deeper, something that went beyond scripts and spotlights. While the world saw her as a TV star, she was secretly writing songs and dreaming of rock stages. Late at night, she'd pour her thoughts into lyrics, strumming her guitar and imagining a life where she could share her own stories, not just recite someone else's lines. Acting was her job, but music was her soul. Every note she played, every song she wrote, brought her closer to who she truly was. The stage called to her in a way the camera never could. She was living a double life, one for the cameras, one for herself. By day, she was Jenny. But by night, she was Taylor, a songwriter, a dreamer, a future rock star in the making. Even with fame and success, she longed for something more authentic. The applause and attention couldn't fill the space where her true passion lived. She wanted to be seen for who she really was, not just the character she played. She wanted to trade scripts for songs, and the Upper East Side for the stage. The decision wasn't easy, but she knew she had to take the leap if she ever wanted to feel truly alive. What looked perfect on the outside wasn't what she truly wanted. Behind the scenes, she struggled with the pressure to conform, to keep up appearances, to be someone she wasn't. And that's where her real story begins, stepping away from the spotlight of television and into the raw, electric world of music, ready to show the world who Taylor Momsen really is. So, how do you walk away from a hit show? How do you turn your back on something millions dream of, and everything you've worked for since you were a kid? For most, it's unthinkable. But sometimes the path you're on just doesn't feel like yours anymore. For Taylor, it wasn't sudden. It was a calling she couldn't ignore. The feeling crept in slowly, a quiet voice growing louder with every day she spent on set. She started to realize that her heart was somewhere else, somewhere louder, wilder, and more honest. She said the decision was easy. Her future wasn't in acting, but in music, with her band, The Pretty Reckless. The stage felt like home. The music felt like truth. Every time she picked up a guitar or stepped up to the mic, she felt alive in a way she never did in front of the camera. Balancing long hours on set with her music was draining her. The constant back and forth, the pressure to be perfect in two worlds, left her exhausted and stretched thin. She was living two lives, and neither felt complete. She realized she couldn't give her all to both, and it was killing her spirit. The more she tried to please everyone, the more she lost herself. Something had to give, and deep down, she knew what it was. She had to choose, keep playing a character, or finally step into the spotlight as herself. It was a terrifying choice, but also a liberating one. For the first time, she could imagine a future that was truly her own. At just a teenager, she had the clarity to know her band was her true priority. Most people her age were still figuring out who they were, but Taylor already knew what she wanted, and what she didn't. Acting was a job. Music was her identity. The difference was night and day. On stage, she could be raw, real, and unapologetically herself. That's what she craved more than anything. It takes guts to listen to that inner voice when everyone else wants you to stay. The world was telling her to play it safe, but she was ready to risk everything for her own happiness. Taylor couldn't fake it anymore. She needed to be herself. She was done pretending, done hiding behind scripts and costumes. It was time to show the world who she really was. The moment she admitted that, everything changed. It was like a weight lifted off her shoulders. She could finally breathe, finally move forward. It was the start of a new chapter, and a fight to make it real. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, she was excited for the challenge ahead. She was ready to leave the Upper East Side behind for good and step boldly into the life she was meant to live. Deciding to leave was one thing, an idea that started as a quiet whisper in Taylor's mind, growing louder with every passing day. She knew she wanted more, but the path ahead was uncertain, and the stakes were higher than ever. Getting out of a major TV contract was another. The paperwork was thick, the obligations heavy, and the fine print seemed endless. Every signature she'd once given now felt like a chain holding her back. Taylor described it as a long, tough battle. There were days when the stress felt overwhelming, and nights when she wondered if she'd ever be free again. She had to face studio executives and plead her case. "Get me out, I can't do this anymore." Each meeting was a test of her resolve, forcing her to relive the reasons she needed to leave. She was honest. Her dream was slipping away while she was stuck on set. The executives weren't happy. They saw her as an investment, not a person with hopes and dreams of her own. She was a key part of their success, and her leaving was a huge problem for them. The show's future, their profits, and their reputations all seemed to rest on her shoulders. For them, it was business. Numbers, ratings, and contracts. For Taylor, it was so much more. For her, it was her life. Every day spent fighting for release was a day her true self was put on hold, her music and her band waiting in the wings. This wasn't just a negotiation. It was a fight for her happiness and creative freedom. She was battling for the right to choose her own path, to reclaim her voice. She had to stand her ground, day after day, proving her passion for music wasn't a whim. She showed them her dedication, her talent, and her unwavering commitment to her art. The process dragged on, but Taylor refused to back down. She waited, negotiated, and pushed for what she believed in, even when it seemed impossible. She knew every day spent as Jenny was a day lost for her band. The music she longed to create was always just out of reach, waiting for her on the other side of the contract. Sometimes the biggest obstacles to our dreams are the systems built to keep us in place. The walls can feel insurmountable, designed to keep us from ever breaking free. But Taylor was determined to break free. She refused to let fear or pressure dictate her future, no matter how daunting the fight became. She fought for her future, not just her career. Every step forward was a step toward reclaiming her identity and her dreams. In the end, her persistence paid off. The relief was overwhelming, the sense of victory hard-won and deeply personal. She finally won her freedom. And as she stepped into the light of a new chapter, Taylor knew she had earned every moment of it. One of the hardest parts? The backlash. When Taylor tried to leave, the studio called her ungrateful. She'd worked since childhood, helped make the show a hit, and now she was judged for wanting something different. It's unfair. Gratitude and personal happiness aren't mutually exclusive. She knew leaving a successful career wasn't easy, but her integrity mattered more. Taylor would rather be a struggling musician than a famous actress who felt like a fraud. Many of us know what it's like to want out of a perfect situation. The fear of being labeled ungrateful is real. But Taylor's story is about trusting your gut, even when others don't understand. She endured criticism to pursue her true calling. She chose authenticity over approval, and that's a choice that deserves respect. So, what was worth all that struggle? Her band, the Pretty Reckless. This wasn't a side project. Taylor was the lead vocalist, guitarist, and songwriter. Their music was raw, loud, and full of emotion, a world away from the Upper East Side. The band formed in 2009, right as her Gossip Girl fame peaked. Their debut album, dropped in 2010, the same year she left the show. She poured all her frustration and passion into her music. The lyrics were personal, the sound, unapologetically rock. With The Pretty Reckless, Taylor found real success. #1 rock hits, world tours, and respect from legends. She proved her music wasn't a phase. She built her career from the ground up, playing small clubs and touring in a van. She worked harder to overcome the TV star stigma. She wanted to be known for her music, not her past. And she succeeded. Now, Taylor Momsen is a rock powerhouse. Jenny Humphrey is history. The Pretty Reckless is her legacy. Beyond the rock star image, who is Taylor Momsen? She describes herself as both trusting and guarded, a balance many of us know. In relationships, she values depth, kindness, and above all, a shared love of music. "We have to have the same musical taste, or it's not gonna work," she says. Her dating life during Gossip Girl was complicated. She sometimes felt used by people in the industry. Fame made it hard to know who was genuine. Over time, she learned to protect her heart. Taylor is self-aware and knows what she wants: authenticity in music and love. She refuses to settle for anything less, in her career or her personal life. She's not playing a character anymore, she's living on her own terms. Taylor's life is never boring. In 2024, a bat bit her on stage during a concert. She finished the song before getting rabies shots. Back in her Gossip Girl days, her on-screen brother Penn Badgley surprised everyone by chopping off his long hair on set. The set was full of creative, spontaneous energy. Here's a wild what if. Lily Collins also auditioned for Jenny Humphrey. Imagine how different the show could have been. These stories show how unpredictable her world has been. From surprise haircuts to bat bites, Taylor's handled it all with humor and grit. Her resilience shines through every bizarre moment. She's seen it all, and she's still standing strong. Every wild experience has shaped her into the fearless artist she is today. Let's appreciate the courage it took for Taylor to walk away from massive success. She had fame, job security, and a clear path in Hollywood. But she chose her own happiness. That's a life-altering choice, and it goes against everything we're taught about success. Taylor listened to her inner voice, not the world's expectations. She risked failure and uncertainty to pursue her dream. The pressure was intense, from studios, fans, and even friends. But she blocked out the noise and trusted herself. Her story proves success isn't one-size-fits-all. For Taylor, it's a sold-out rock show and a song from the heart. She redefined success on her own terms. She left Hollywood's glamour for rock's grit, and found her true home. The bravest thing you can do is build a life that feels right to you. Taylor Momsen's legacy. It's all about being true to yourself. She refused to be just one thing. She's a fierce artist who carved her own path. Her story is about breaking free from expectations and chasing your passion. She used her Gossip Girl fame as a launchpad, not a cage. She faced criticism and doubt, but never wavered. Taylor's journey shows it's never too late to change your path. It's okay to want something different, to walk away from what looks good but feels wrong. She traded a scripted life for one she could write herself. Her story isn't just about leaving a TV show, it's about finding your voice and using it. She chose passion over a paycheck, authenticity over approval. She took a massive risk, and it paid off. Taylor found her calling, her audience, and herself. That's a true rock and roll fairy tale. XOXO.